Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a super quick one. I'm going to show you how I do my eyebrows. And we're going to jump right into the tutorial. I'm going to zoom you guys in and I'm going to show you every single product I use and the steps I take to get these brows under control, because if you know me, you know I have very sparse brows and very thin brows. So I'm going to show you how I fill them in, and you're going to see how easy it is to achieve a really nice clean brow. And I'm using a lot of drugstore things today too. So I'm excited to show you guys this tutorial. I hope you guys love this tutorial. Let me know if you want me to do a full face tutorial next. I'm going to show you an updated version of my everyday makeup routine. And then if you want to see this vampy, like more warm toned eye look, I will also include that in the video as well. I use the Jaclyn Hill palette on my eyes today. So let me know in the comments below if you want me to do this makeup look for my next video. And also I'm going to include a little review on this POREfessional mattifying gel. I mentioned this in my story if you follow me on Instagram, and I just wanted to continue to try it out for a week or so before I give you my final thoughts on that. So if you want to see a updated foundation routine and also this eye look, and then including the review on this product, then let me know in the comments below. I'm going to stop rambling and we're going to go into this brow tutorial. Alright guys, we're going to jump into this super easy brow tutorial. Before I get started, I just want to kind of explain how my brows are. If you noticed, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a before and after photo of my brows without brow product versus with brow product. And that photo was taken last summer of my brows, and my hairs have grown in a little bit more since then, which is great, but they're still very uneven. They're very sparse and they're just not thick, and there's no rhyme or reason to them. I mean, they grow in all sorts of directions. They are curly. There's some hairs that are straight. So it is very difficult for me to get a really clean and precise brow a lot of times. So I found a routine that has worked for me. This is what I've been doing for a long time now, and I'm going to show you how I do it. It's going to be super easy for you to follow, and I'm going to do a combination of powder and a pencil, and I'm going to show you how quickly this brow comes together. You guys are going to be amazed. So what I'm using today is the Maybelline Brow Drama powder, and I'm going to be using this middle powder right here. And then I'm also going to be using the Anastasia Brow Wiz pencil, as you can see that. And then to set the brows, I'm using the NYX Control Freak eyebrow gel. And then to clean up the brows at the end, I'm just going to take this Real Techniques little detail brush, and I'm doing the Photo Focus Concealer by Wet n Wild. So those are the things I'm using today. That's all I'm using. So there's essentially 4 products I'm using. And I'm just going to show you how I do that right now. So I'm going to first go into the Maybelline Brow Drama palette, and it comes with a spoolie. Just pop the plastic off of that. And it also comes with a dual-sided angle brush. And honestly, I like the brush it comes with. It's super easy. I use everything that's in the kit and it's totally fine. Everything works perfect. So what I'm essentially going to do first is I'm going to spoolie through my brows, just to get any like product out of them. If I got any concealer in there or my foundation or powder, let's just brush all of that out. So then I'm going to take my angled brush and I'm going to dip into this powder right here. So this is a wax, this is a powder, and this is a highlight color. I'm just going to be using the powder in this tutorial today. This is all I use. I sometimes will highlight with this, but not normally. I only use the powder in this palette. And this is in the shade Soft Brown, is what I use on my brows. I'm going to put this mirror in front of me. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start at the front of my brow with the powder and the angled brush. And all this is going to do with the powder is just really start to map out my brow, so then I can really get a good shape going. And then what I'm going to do with the Brow Wiz pencil is I'm going to really clean it up and give it a more precise look versus just using the powder. The powder is good for an all over like evenness, but the pencil is going to give me that precision with the hairs and exactly how I want it to look. So that's why I like using a combination of powder and a pencil. So again, I'm going to go in with this powder and I'm going to start in the beginning of my brow, and I'm actually going to draw out my brow even further in with the powder. So I'm starting with the flat end of the brush, so I'm using like the edge of it, dipping into the powder and really just starting to shape the front of it with a light hand. And all I'm doing is just drawing the brow in closer to the bridge of my nose. Just a little bit. They're just a little too short in the front for my liking. And then I'm going to flip the brush this way horizontally and go underneath and on top and really just fill in the brow. You're literally like just sweeping this product through just to disperse some color, fill it in, and I really only use the powder for the front of my brow just to get that started, and then I'm going to show you what I do with the pencil in just a second. So once I start to get a shape that I am okay with, that I'm pleased with, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. So like I said, this is going to be like the quickest, easiest brow tutorial you'll probably ever watch, just because this powder palette by Maybelline, which first off it's drugstore, which is incredible and it's super cheap, but I've just been impressed with the longevity of the powder, how easy it is to use. You're going to just be really impressed with this powder, I promise. So again, I'm going to put it flat, and I'm going to, again on this side, draw out my brow as well, a little bit closer to the bridge of my nose. And what gets tricky too with my brows is this brow right here is a little bit lower than this brow. No matter how I pluck them, how I grow them in, that's just how my brows are. This one is lower than this one. It's super frustrating. They're always uneven. They're never going to be perfect. Even if I take, you know, an hour on perfecting my brows with my brow products, they're just never going to be super perfect even. So I have to keep that in mind, but I'm going to do the best I can to get the front of these as even as possible. Okay, so we use the powder and that's it. That's all I do with the powder palette. It just allows me to start with somewhat of a shape. So like I said, it's super easy to use, and that way you're not totally starting from scratch with a small little pencil. You already have a pretty decent brow. That way when you go into the pencil, you can really just sculpt it and it'll be so much easier, I promise. So try this using the powder first and then going in with a pencil. So we're gonna jump into the Brow Wiz pencil. And what I like to do with this is I like to thicken my brows a little bit with it, and then also extending the tail a little bit as well. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. So I'm gonna spoolie through what we did with the powder. And then I'm going to do light strokes if there's still any sparse areas. And then I'm going to slightly start dragging underneath to thicken up the brow a little bit. I'm using a very light hand. You don't want them to look like you painted them on or tattooed them on. For me personally, I like a little bit more of a darker brow for my face. It just depends what products you're using, but I tend to go for more of a darker brow. But I still don't want it to look super like drawn on, painted. You know, you get the picture. So I'm using a light hand and I'm just going underneath and starting to shape it a little more, because while my hairs are growing in, the bottom of my brows are super jaggedy and I can't stand it. So what I like to do with this pencil is when I'm dragging this line underneath, it's giving me a more even brow underneath instead of those jagged lines, if that makes sense. And as I'm going, I'm always spooling through with the spoolie. And then I like to turn my head and I like to see the shape up top over here. And I kind of like to round out this corner here, this little arch. Brushing through, always brushing through. And then once I'm getting this shape going, that's when I start to drag it down a little bit to extend that tail. I mean, how quickly did this brow come together? I mean, it was super fast, and I only used 2 products. So I've just noticed that when I use the powder first, my brows go on so much faster, so much more even, and it just works for me. So I just wanted to share with you these products so you understand that you can get a pretty even brow when you literally don't have brow hairs. It's a struggle, I know. Okay, so I'm not gonna do much more with that. I like the way that brow looks. I'm gonna let it go. And then don't worry, we're gonna clean up underneath with concealer. I'm gonna show you how I do that. So all I'm gonna do is finish up this other brow here. Now I could sit and fuss with my brows for another hour because they're never gonna be even, like I told you. Like I said, one is just higher than the other one, so they're not gonna be perfectly the same, but I got them to where I feel like I love how they look. I'm pleased with them. I mean, they're just not gonna get any better than what they are right now. And what I love, a nice feathered look in the front. Yes, I love brows that I see on Instagram, that it's nice and light and feathery in the front. It gets darker towards the end. Personally, I just don't have brows like that, so I can't achieve that look. I have to fill in my brows where it's sparse, and my brows are sparse in the front. So they are pretty much even for me personally. I mean, they look even more even in my mirror versus when I look back at the footage. They still look very uneven on camera, but when I'm looking at them straight on in person, they look as even as they're going to get. So at this point, I would go into the NYX Control Freak Brow Gel, and I'm going to set my brows. So I'm going to put some in the front, and I'm going to brush upwards and then lay them down. Same on the other side. And lay them down. Ooh, try not to get it in your hair. That way all the hairs stay in place. They're not going to come up throughout the day. I have a lot of curly cues, so I don't want any of them sticking out. I want them all to be uniformed and stay in place. So I'm going to show you how I clean up the bottom of them because I need a wax. So essentially when you clean the bottom of them with concealer, it's going to give you that really like freshly waxed look, which I really like. I don't do anything on the top of them, but I love doing a little bit on the bottom. So I'm just going to take that Photo Focus concealer by Wet n Wild. I'm going to put some on the back of my hand here, like that. I'm going to take my little pencil brush. This is by Real Techniques. I think it's just like a precision brush. I'm going to go into that concealer, and all I'm doing with the concealer is I'm running right up to the edge of that product we put underneath, which was the Brow Wiz. I'm essentially taking that concealer and going right along that just to get a super clean brow and hide any of those stray hairs we might have. It's going to brighten it and highlight underneath there, and it's also going to give us a nice clean brow, which we definitely want. I mean, you can already tell it's just super precise and cleaned up, which I love. So that's all you're going to do is take the concealer with a small angle brush, and you're just going to run that concealer right underneath where we did that Brow Wiz pencil. You can tell, definitely tell a difference with the cleanliness of the brow. It definitely looks so much better, this brow does. So I'm going to do that to the other side, and I will end this tutorial very soon. Alright guys, that's it for this video this week. Let me know again in the comments if you want to see this makeup look in my next video, but I was happy to just gear towards the brows today, and I hope this video definitely helps you. It shows that you can achieve a brow in a couple easy steps, and it's going to be super easy just start with that powder first. It's really gonna help you. So I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.